County 911.
Ma'am, I killed my boyfriend in self-defense.
What did you kill him with?
A gun, a loaded gun in the house.
Can you tell me where the gun is right now?
The gun is in the house. I laid it on the bookshelf.
Where are you?
I'm standing about 10 feet from his dead body.
Okay, are you sure that he is dead?
He's dead, ma'am. He's completely dead.
Okay. And how long ago did you shoot him?
I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, not even that long. Like
10 or 15 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your name?
My name is Shayna Hubers.
I did. Yes, I did. I can't believe it.
Ryan Poston was born on December 30th, 1982, Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, to Jay Poston and Lisa Carter. His parents were divorced when he was very young. However, Ryan was very close with his family. He had 3 younger sisters that he absolutely adored. After the divorce, his mother remarried to Peter Carter, whom Ryan thought of as a second father. He didn't see it as a competition between father figures. Instead, he welcomed and admired his new stepfather, that he changed his middle name to Carter. Ryan was a brilliant young man since an early age. He attended Indiana University, where he triple majored in history, geography, and political science. After his graduation, he wanted to follow his family's tradition of becoming a lawyer, so he then attended the Salmon P. Chase College of Law at North Kentucky University in Highland Heights. After completing his Juris Doctor degree, Ryan began working as an attorney in Cincinnati, Ohio. In 2009, Ryan dated Lauren Worley, but they broke up after just a year and a half. Shortly after, Ryan's step-cousin Carissa introduced him to her friend on Facebook, 19-year-old Shayna Hubers. The two probably would have never met if it weren't for Facebook. Shayna also excelled in school. One of Shayna's friends recalled that she was always in AP classes and breezed through her classes with A's. When Shayna met Ryan in 2011, she was studying psychology at the University of Kentucky in Lexington. She graduated cum laude in just 3 years. Then she pursued a master's degree in school guidance counseling. She also did some modeling on the side. At only 19 years old, Shayna was already successful in life, and she's been getting what she wanted with ease. Her bedroom was full of academic acolytes and trophies. Her friend acknowledged that she was extremely competitive and would not take no for an answer. She always had to win. However, she was very dramatic when it comes to boys and had a difficult time with breakups. Ryan and Shayna started dating in late 2011. Passion often twists itself to obsession, which could sometimes turn deadly. Friends of Ryan said that Shayna had been obsessed with him from the very beginning. She was still very threatened by Ryan's ex-girlfriend Lauren, and she would frequently ask people if Lauren was more attractive than she was. And when Ryan's other female friends were around, Shayna was always fixated on Ryan and became very cold to them. She had a goal from the beginning, to make him settle down with her, and when she wasn't becoming successful, that became a problem. The couple had a volatile relationship, breaking up several times over a 1.5-year period. Ryan tried to break up with her, but he had a hard time getting Shayna to let go. She just wouldn't take no for an answer. This led to Shayna becoming more possessive, and Ryan's irritation with her grew. She would come to his place unannounced and refuse to leave. One night, Ryan had to leave his apartment and stayed with his father as she wouldn't leave his place. He even sent a text to his step-cousin saying, "This is getting to be restraining order level crazy. She's shown up at my condo like 3 times and refuses to leave each time." It was also later revealed that Shayna successfully hacked into Ryan's Facebook and started monitoring his messages with female friends. In the spring of 2012, Ryan became very busy with his law practice, but he was also trapped in this toxic relationship. Ryan had even told his family and friends that Shayna is the craziest girl he's ever met and has become scared of her. Despite this, they continued their cycle of breakups and getting back together. Lori Zimmerman, Ryan's legal assistant, witnessed firsthand how Shayna was calling him at work 50 to 100 times a day. If she couldn't get him on his cell phone, she would call the receptionist and ask for him. If that didn't work, she would show up at his office and refuse to leave. Ryan had a passion for guns, and on October 2nd, 2012, Shayna joined him at the gun range. She texted a friend saying, "A part of me wanted to turn around and shoot him. I wonder why he's taking me on dates and stuff, LOL. I'm not going to turn down learning how to shoot a gun, haha." Then she also texted another friend saying, "When I go to the shooting range with Ryan tonight, I want to turn around and shoot him and kill him and play it like it's an accident." Shayna told her neighbor that Ryan was verbally and emotionally abusive. He frequently told her that she needed to lose weight and get a boob job. However, a close friend later said the otherwise, saying, "In the 10 years I knew him, he never once raised his voice. He's always been the same, super nerdy, super sweet." At this time, Ryan was entangled in a lawsuit with his former partner and had become extremely overwhelmed. This stress, along with the stress from the turbulent relationship with Shayna, began to take an enormous toll on him. He was being pushed to the limits. On October 4th, 2012, Ryan texted his friend, "There's nothing I want more than to just scorch the effing earth and leave this entire city in a pile of burnt rubble." Finally, Ryan decided he couldn't take Shayna's obsessive behavior anymore. Unbeknownst to Shayna, he began talking to other women. Ryan had begun talking with Audrey Bolt, former Miss Ohio USA 2012, and was planning to see her for a date on October 12th. On the night of October 11th, one day prior to his date with Audrey, Ryan brought Shayna to his parents' house to watch the presidential debate. Then they went back to Ryan's condo where they both spent the night. At that time, Ryan informed Shayna that he wouldn't be able to see her that weekend, but he didn't mention anything about the date. Shayna became very upset. She couldn't sleep that night, so she called her mom and told her that she wasn't feeling well. Her mom then drove 80 miles from Lexington to Ryan's condo and spent the night there. The next morning, Ryan woke up and found Shayna's mom sleeping in his living room. Shayna told Ryan she wasn't feeling well and she now has chest pains, so she asked Ryan if he would take her to the ER, but he refused. So Shayna left with her mom. Throughout the day, Shayna texted Ryan about her ER visit. She told him she had an EKG test and was later referred to a specialist. She also told him the daily medication that she had been prescribed. During trial, Shayna denies knowing that Ryan has been talking to Audrey, but we can all assume that she knows, as Shayna had access to his Facebook and had been regularly checking up on him and was able to discover their plans. In fact, Shayna had just friended the beauty queen on Facebook 2 days prior. Shayna's computer history also reveals that she has been researching about Audrey online. On the day of the date with Audrey, Ryan was telling all his co-workers that he was really excited about his date with her. His legal assistant, Lori, remembered telling him to be careful with how Shayna would react if she finds out, but Ryan told her that he's got everything under control. Oh, by the way, contrary to what Shayna had told Ryan, she did not go to the ER, but instead had spent the entire day shopping with her mother. And while shopping, she Googled about heart disease and high blood pressure, so that she sounded more believable when texting Ryan. She also researched on the medications that would be prescribed for someone with such conditions. A few hours before Ryan's date with Audrey, he texted Audrey about their plans that evening. They were both excited about meeting each other. They were supposed to meet at Ryan's condo at first, but later decided to meet at a local bar instead. Later that evening, at about 8:30 p.m, before Ryan had the chance to leave for his date, Shayna showed up at Ryan's condo unannounced, and about 25 minutes later, Ryan was shot 6 times and a 911 call came in.
Campbell County 911.
Ma'am, I killed my boyfriend in self-defense.
What did you kill him with?
A gun, a loaded gun in the house.
Can you tell me where the gun is right now?
The gun is in the house. I laid it on the bookshelf.
Where are you?
I'm standing about 10 feet from his dead body.
Okay, are you sure that he is dead?
He's dead, ma'am. He's completely dead.
Okay. And how long ago did you shoot him?
I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, not even that long. Like
10 or 15 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your name?
My name is Shayna Hubers.
The officers don't want me to stay on the line with you, so when they get there, they're going to want to know where that gun is, and we want you to get out safely too, okay?
Okay, are they going to arrest me?
Ma'am, I don't know what they'll do. We're going to send them out. I'm going to stay on the line with you, okay?
I mean, I'm not a murderer, ma'am. I just killed him.
What happened exactly? What happened?
He beat me and tried to carry me out of the house, and I came back in to get my things, and he was right in front of me, and he reached down and grabbed the gun, and I grabbed it out of his hand and pulled the trigger.
Okay. All right. Do you need an ambulance? Have you been injured?
I'm not injured, ma'am. I was thrown into the side of the couch.
All right. What's his name?
Ryan Carter posted. He's an attorney in Cincinnati.
Okay. Have you had a history of domestic violence with him?
Yes.
Okay. And is this your gun?
No, this is his gun. He keeps loaded guns in the house.
So he slammed you into the couch, but you don't have any injuries?
I don't have any injuries. I was just very frightened. He's a lot bigger than me. He's 6'3", 200 pounds. I'm 5'8", 120. And he picked me up, and I said, let me get my things at least if we're going to break up. And he threw me across the room, and I was very startled. I was laying on the floor.
Okay. All right.
And I killed him.
Ma'am, you're sure he's not breathing at all?
Do I have to go touch him?
No, that's okay. They actually have someone that's outside almost right now, but I'm going to stay on the line with you, okay?
Ma'am, and then because he was twitching and I knew he was going to die anyway, and he was making funny noises, I shot him a couple more times just to kill him because I knew he would have been.
I'm sorry, you said you shot him a couple more times after that?
Yeah.
How many times did you shoot him total?
I don't know.
Okay, because he was twitching and you knew he was going to die, so you shot him again?
Enough to make sure he was dead because he was twitching so bad and I don't want to watch him lay there and twitch.
So you shot him instead of calling 911?
Yeah, I did because I knew he was going to die anyway.
The police arrived at Ryan's condo at 9 p.m. and they found Ryan laying face down on the floor by his dining table. Shayna was then brought to Highland Heights Police Station for questioning. She was read her Miranda rights, and despite immediately requesting a lawyer, she wanted to talk. In fact, during the full interrogation, the police did not even ask a single question. For the next 3 hours, she wouldn't stop talking, to the point where several officers had taken shifts to relieve each other during her bizarre ramblings. Investigators later revealed that during the interview, she was making strange noises and forcing herself to cry, but when they left the room, she stopped immediately. The officers watched Shayna in the other room in fascination and disbelief. In this footage, you'll see Shayna describing the incident to the police officer. Remember, the officer was not there to ask questions, as she had already asked for a lawyer. Watch how she incriminated herself without being asked a single question.
His arm across the table, and there's a lamp, and he had put his arm across the table and had it in my face and was screaming at me at the top of his lungs after he had thrown me around the room, and was saying emotionally to me, "You're a f***ing hillbilly. I f***ing hate you. I hate everything about you for what you are and my family." And he was screaming it, and he had his hand on the table, and he wasn't completely standing up. He was like this. He was sitting. He was enough that when I shot him, he went like this. Literally. That's when I knew he was dead, or close to it, and twitching. And I let him, I still, even though the hurt, I still, enough of me, loved him. That I couldn't stand to watch him twitch. I knew he was going to die or have a completely deformed face. He's very vain. One of our last conversations we had that was good was that he wants my best friend who's a dentist to do his veneers and wants to get a nose job. Just that kind of person. And I shot him right here. I gave him his nose job. He wanted. I broke it. And I just picked up the gun. And in the middle of him doing something with his arm or saying something crazy, shot him. And I thought, oh my God, what have I done? You know. And he was laying with his face on the table, like twitching. And so I knew he was going to die a very slow and painful death. I knew he was already dead, you know, and within the next 20 seconds. So in the next 2 minutes, I knew he was going to be dead. And he was in a lot of pain. He was twitching, he was moaning, but he was ultimately dead. And so I shot him enough times to kill him so that he wouldn't suffer at that point, which was a few more times. And I shot him, I think I shot him twice, thought he was completely dead, and he was laying there still, twitching and making noises. And I shot him in the head.
You'll notice that Shayna just literally confessed to him being alive, and that she continued to shoot him to finish him off. Her rationalization? She didn't want him to suffer. Now she made it seem like she murdered him intentionally rather than defending herself. And based on what she said, this case was dubbed as the nose job murder. But that wasn't even the strangest part of it. In fact, what you'll see next is so strange that people immediately think of Jodi Arias. Jodi, the cold-blooded killer who murdered her lover, Travis Alexander, was also overly obsessed with her victim. He too was killed viciously. He was found dead later in the shower with stab wounds and a bullet to the head. But the most puzzling part of Jodi's case, and the reason it gained media attention, was her bizarre behavior at the police interview room.
I didn't hear you breathe.
The moment the detective left the room, Jodi started doing yoga, handstands, and even singing Oh Holy Night. It was clear from her behavior that she feels no remorse for killing her boyfriend.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. This is the day of our dear Savior's birth. When Christ was born.
If that sounds cold and strange, watch what Shayna does.
How sweet the sound that sings oh rest. I'll be right back. Thank you.
Psychological shock is when you experience a surge of strong emotions in response to an unexpected stressful event. Some people cry, some people try to distract themselves with other things, and some people turn to alcohol. There are so many ways of reacting to shock, but I'll tell you how you don't react. You don't twirl around the room within hours of shooting your boyfriend 6 times. You don't sing Amazing Grace, and you certainly don't say, "I gave him the nose job he always wanted." The craziest part is that for 3 hours that Shayna talked, detectives didn't even ask her one question. But then the footage takes an even darker turn. You can hear her say,
I did. Yes, I did. I cannot believe I did that.
her bizarre behavior went on. Shayna even called herself a good actor. The eeriest part is how unapologetic she was. Her reason for killing him was that she thought he was going to die anyway, or have a deformed face.
I probably should have left it there, but I knew he was going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Or have a very deformed face.
And you were concerned.
And I knew, oh no, he would have died. He was already dying. He was dying. But I just walked around the table and shot him where I knew he would die immediately. And fast.
Shayna had decided for Ryan, whom she describes as vain, that he would rather be dead than have a deformed face. That's not exactly a good excuse for killing someone. She wasn't making a good case for herself, and the police were shocked by her statements. As you can see, the similarities between Jodi Arias and Shayna Hubers are clear. They both killed their boyfriends in cold blood in a jealous rage, and they both had disturbing performances in the interrogation room, showed no remorse, and thought they could pull it off. But there are some differences. While Shayna immediately confessed to the crime, Jodi Arias initially denied killing her boyfriend and claimed that hitmen killed her boyfriend. When she could no longer deny it, she also claimed self-defense and said that she was being abused. But it appears that Jodi's crime was premeditated, whereas Shayna didn't really have a plan. And the only way Ryan could get out of his condo was as Shayna's boyfriend or in a body bag.
And you know, I wasn't doing anything that was mean. I was like begging him to stay in the relationship and be with me because I knew that we weren't really loving each other. You know, Ryan had told me that he loved me and wanted to be with me. And I guess somewhere along the way, that grew to hate. He was screaming how much he hated me. I don't know if anyone will ever want to marry me if they know that I killed a boyfriend in self-defense. It's not funny, but...
At this point in the interrogation, Shayna continued to ramble about how nobody would marry her if they found out she had killed her boyfriend in self-defense. I mean, I think it's a pretty good reason not to marry someone.
The stuff he was saying to me was so abusive while he was throwing me around the room. I think in the midst of that, my love turned to hate. I remember screaming, "F*** you," reaching up to grab the shirt. "F*** you, how dare you mock my family, how dare you talk about me, please speak poorly of my mother and my family. I'm not your typical murderer, you know, I'm not someone that you see on death row." He said, "You're just a hillbilly from Kentucky," and I am. I guess the hillbilly came out of me. I took that for myself. The worst thing I've ever done my whole life. But I feel like it's sad that part of me doesn't feel bad about it. And that part of me does, you know what I mean? Like, part of me is like, he hit me, he threw me. You just don't treat a woman like that. I was in high school and she was a convicted felon. She told me that she went for cocaine. She was the family that she got along with in jail or prison were the women that were there because they had killed their husbands, and said that hell has no fury like a woman's scorn. Never believed it until now.
While in the interrogation room, she asked what life in prison is like. She asked if she could bring her cell phone with her. She asked if showers were available or if people just got really dirty. She also asked if she had to shower in front of people. Shayna Hubers was then charged for the murder of Ryan Poston. The judge set bail at a high $5 million. Due to the high bail, Shayna remained incarcerated until the trial, which began on April 13, 2015. During the trial, prosecutors stated that there is no evidence in the crime scene that indicate that she killed Ryan in self-defense or that he came after her. Shayna had claimed that Poston had thrown her against a bookshelf, but a picture of that same bookshelf is covered with items that would have shifted. Everything on it was still in place. None of them were disturbed. Even the bullets were still standing up. There was no evidence of a life or death struggle. And what really made investigators skeptical about Shayna's story was her claim that at one point during their clash, Ryan had locked himself in his bedroom. The prosecutor asked, if he was assaulting you, why is he the one to escape? So he attacked her, but he locked himself in his own bedroom. Her browsing history also revealed that she then used the internet to search how to unlock a door with a bobby pin. It turns out that she was successful and was able to get into his bedroom. It appears that someone needs to defend themselves, but it's certainly not Shayna. To further claim that Ryan was the aggressive person, she said that he had reached up her dress and grabbed her thigh on their very first date. She also claimed that they had engaged in rough sex that he took too far, but investigators found their text messages and it told a very different story. On October 13th, 2012, Shayna sent a text to Ryan, I have all these cute corsets and stuff that I've never worn. Wouldn't that be kind of hot? And we could like role play. Ryan then responded, I really don't think I'd be into it. On that evening of October the 12th, Ryan's neighbors recall that they heard a woman crying on the deck, and about 15 minutes later, they heard 2 loud gunshots. A few minutes later, they heard 4 more shots, when they realized that they were gunshots. Shayna's former cellmate, Cecile Miller, testified that Shayna bragged about killing Ryan and that she was going to plead insanity. During the trial, Shayna apologized to her friends and family for letting them down. She also said she was sorry for the money her parents had spent for attorneys. She has never apologized to Ryan's family for what she did. Shayna later claimed that she was too smart to plead insanity because she had the IQ of Einstein. So instead, she's going to plead the battered wife syndrome. On April the 23rd, 2015, after 5 hours of deliberation, the jury came back with a verdict. Guilty. 24-year-old Shayna Hubers, once a promising graduate student, is now a convicted murderer. Shayna looked stunned as the judge sentenced her 40 years in prison. I know what you're thinking. She deserves more. This was a clear-cut, cold-blooded murder. And the fact that she may be free one day is a scary thought. However, the judge did mention that he would have given her more time because of her lack of remorse. She didn't apologize, even once. For Ryan's family, there is enormous relief that justice has been served. Ryan's younger sister also had the chance to tell the court about the enormous loss she is suffering.
30 years old, I don't need to bring a teddy bear up with me. This teddy bear was made by Jay's sister. This is Ryan's shirt. That's it. That's all we have on voicemail.
On August 15th, 2016, In an unexpected twist, Shayna was granted an appeal, overturning her conviction. It was discovered that one of the jurors had a felony conviction for a child support charge. It was under Kentucky law that prohibits someone with a felony to serve as a judge. The guilty verdict was then vacated and a new trial was ordered. Around this time, Shayna had met someone in jail and wanted to get married. After submitting a request to get married, she also contacted the media, where she was interviewed by WCPO's Craig McKee about her new love and her new trial.
The big question tied to your letter, it appears that you've fallen in love.
Yes.
How did that happen?
I can only describe it as like a spiritual encounter that I had with another person that I met here a couple years ago that I grew to know over the years.
On June 7th, 2018, Shayna married a transgender inmate named Unique Taylor, also known as Richard McBee, who was waiting on trial for robbery charges. This was 2 months before her new trial, which she wasn't too hopeful about.
And we just got really close, and we're both forced into a similar situation. And Unique and I have a lot in common, and we just grew very close over the years.
Mm-hmm. So when you first met Unique obviously was arrested. Richard McBee goes by Unique,
yes.
Obviously. January 10th of 2016. So when did you, after that?
I met McBee that summer of 2016 when I returned for my new trial.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, Richard McBee is official name. Kind of explain to me, I mean, I know obviously from his writings and from your writings who he identifies as, but kind of explain to me, who is Richard McBee today?
Richard McBee has a past that I would believe is not indicative of who he is today. Who Unique Taylor is to me today is a wonderfully sensitive, charismatic, brilliant, amazing, and highly naturally intelligent and capable as a person. Mm-hmm. He's from a wonderful background in Nashville, Tennessee. His mother is a doctor, and his father was very successful as well. He doesn't belong here. He's not guilty in his case, and he's fought the justice system here for years. He's defending himself very adequately.
When you heard that your conviction was being thrown out and you were given the opportunity of a second trial, was there relief? Did you smile a little bit? Did you have any reaction like, all right, I get another chance here? What was your reaction?
I was obviously very happy. It was something that was very special to me and for my life.
Do you think you can get a fair trial in the second round?
I don't believe I can gain a fair trial in Campbell County. I don't believe that that's possible here in this county.
Is that because of all the media coverage, or why would you think that?
I feel like there's a biased opinion against me here, and that's one reason why we felt like we'd be retaliated against in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Shayna. You murdered someone in cold blood. There's a biased opinion about you everywhere. On August 18, 2018, Shayna took the stand on her second trial and gave her account on the abusive relationship.
And he picked me up from an awkward angle and threw me from the doorway of his bedroom into the other room. When he was first shot, he let out a really loud noise that sounded like an animal. It sounded like a bear, some type of wild animal, and it really freaked me out. I thought that he was going to snap my neck because of the way that he was jerking my head around, and he had all of his weight on me, and he had all of his weight on my body, and he was jerking my head around with his hand in my hair.
Shayna is now claiming that Ryan was on top of her, and he had her by the hair and jerking her head around. But during the police interrogation, didn't she say he was sitting at the table, or was he coming towards her?
He was like this. He was sitting, he was enough that when I shot him, he went like this. Literally. That's when I knew he was dead.
Her story keeps changing. During that trial, she was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. At this trial, Ryan's father, Jay Poston, was also present. On August 29, 2018, almost 6 years from Ryan's death, jurors yet again deliberated for 5 hours and gave a verdict of guilty. This time, she was sentenced to life in prison, with the possibility of parole in 2032. In her most recent mugshot, taken in 2019, she is smiling. Shayna's marriage with Unique Taylor did not last long. Soon after their marriage, Taylor was transferred to another jail in Tennessee. She told the judge that she had not seen her spouse since they got married. She filed for a divorce a few days later, stating that her life sentence constituted the marriage as irretrievable. Ryan's family is extremely grateful for the jury's decision. 40 years in jail certainly wasn't long enough the first time round, so this verdict gave them some closure.
When I am not in that courtroom, she does not exist to me. She flat out doesn't exist. I will not let this woman have power over me. You can't let evil win.
Lauren Worley, Ryan's ex-girlfriend, always expressed regret that she might have been able to stop it if she had a hunch of what was about to happen. At this point, Lauren is 33 years old and now lives in Lexington, Kentucky. It has been quite challenging to move past the person Lauren thought was the love of her life. Lauren has noted that she loved Ryan and still does. Audrey Bolt has also moved on and now lives in Denver, Colorado. However, she still can't help but think how things would have ended up differently if she would have met Ryan at his condo as they originally planned.